Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name's Jack. Today we are doing not a minifigure collection video, but instead every single Marvel and DC Bigfig ever made. Alright, so this collection includes 8 different Bigfigs, 5 of them are for Marvel, 3 are for DC, but when you break it down to just characters, it's 3 characters for Marvel and 3 characters for DC. Now this isn't one of our massive collections, but I will be doing some honorable mentions, as well as Bigfigs coming soon. So in this episode, I'm going to let you know what year these guys came out, what sets they came out in, and how much they are worth. And you know what, usually I go from earliest to the latest figure, but today I'm going to work my way from the most recent guy to the very last one, and that is because the molding actually gets better for these guys the further back in time we go. So this first guy is a 2016 release. We have Killer Croc. He is currently exclusive to the set Batman Killer Croc Sewer Smash, set number 76055, and the printing looks great for this guy. I think the art style of Killer Croc here reflects the most recent iteration of him in the animated series, but obviously he doesn't have a tail, which is kind of too bad. The mold for the upper part of his torso is of course unique, but I think everything else is actually a previous mold that we're going to see later down the line. Being the most recent of the figs, his price may not have fully stabilized on the BrickLink market, but he is currently labeled as a $10 fig, which makes him the second most expensive in the collection. And let's move on to the next most recent guy. He also came out in 2016, and we have Thanos. Now the detailing for this fig actually really does look good. They kept very true to how he is supposed to look in the comics, and the mold for his sort of pointy shoulder armor works really well. Now they decided to not give the Thanos Bigfig a 6-pack, despite the fact that he's usually portrayed having one in a lot of the comics, but I guess maybe they thought the print detailing that shows his armor in the front suffices to cover that up. He appeared in the set Avengers Space Mission 76049, and he's the only fig in this collection that came with sort of a legit accessory. These are 2 Lego built hover boots that came with him in the set. They've got a couple of stud shooters on the side, and the color combination is obviously made to reflect the same colors of the Thanos fig. Brand new, he sells for $8 on BrickLink, and let's jump back 1 year to the year 2015, where we get 3 other minifigs. Sorry, Bigfigs. Now this year marks the first year that we get the more standardized Bigfig body builds. Everybody knows that the arms and hands come in separate bags and you put them together, but the body molds themselves are actually made in several pieces, and they're put together as a solid piece in the factory. So some of the main body, leg, torso pieces have now been given this sort of generic look, where the head and shoulder piece can now be switched out with the torso, and this makes it easier on production certainly, but the Bigfigs don't look quite as unique as they do in the past. You'll get a closer look at that when I get there. Anyways, the first example of this new Bigfig body is Darkseid. The shape of the mold is almost exactly the same as Thanos, except of course you can see the printing is totally different. He doesn't have that shoulder armor. And once again, this is a pretty good representation of what a comic book character looks like from the actual comic book series. Darkseid came from the set Darkseid Invasion 76028, and he sells for $7, which makes him about in the mid-range for any of these Bigfigs. And our next guy is one of my favorite. This is Gorilla Grodd. If you're starting to notice a pattern with the shape of the body of these minifigs, yeah, it should be apparent by now. The body is pretty much exactly the same as the last 2, and the only thing that changes is that mold for the top of the head. The line for the change in the mold you can see along the back kind of goes across from shoulder to shoulder, and there's that little dip. And then of course there's another line. It's somewhat covered up by Gorilla Grodd's sort of hairy chest or hairy head, but the line is nevertheless there. This guy came out in Gorilla Grodd Goes Bananas 76026. He is a $9 fig. And the last one of 2015 is this most recent version of Hulk. He came out in the Hulkbuster Smash set as well as the Hydra Fortress Smash. He's $6, and here you can see one of the other generic mold features. The legs are pretty much the same as the legs that we saw before, and now the Hulk has a 6-pack, and the shoulder piece has changed not just for the head and hair, but you can also see some sort of bigger trap muscles as well. The detailing resembles what Hulk looks like in the Avengers movies. And let's move on to the last few guys. 2 of them came out in 2014, and I guess we can look at the original Hulk. Technically not the original Hulk, but this is the same mold as the original Hulk, and it is slightly different from what we were just looking at. The mold for the body is not the standard one that can get switched out for different parts. We don't see any lines in the back or lines in the front where you can see the head would be switched out with different ones. Also, one of the main differences is that there's actually a bit of mold that makes up the torn shorts that the Hulk is wearing. There are stretch marks in the front as well as just sort of a jagged base to the pants, like they're sort of ripped away at the bottom. And I think this looks a lot better than the previous guys guys that we saw that all have the same generic mold for the legs, and they just sort of change up the printing. He appeared in the set Hulk Lab Smash 76018, and he sells for $7. And we get a similar thing from this next guy. This is Green Goblin, or at least what he looks like in the Ultimate Spider-Man show. He came out in the set Spider Helicopter Rescue, set number 76016. He's also a $7 fig. And what I can appreciate about this Bigfig is that the molds are all uniquely just his. There's not only an indentation that shows the line of the sort of jumpsuit he's wearing around his legs, but it goes up to show some extra molding that will outline his armor. He, of course, has a special mold to show his goblin head. And this is the only minifig, A, that has a different mold for the arms, and B, this is the only guy that has his right foot forward instead of his left. Kind of a small detail to point out, but all in all, I'd say this Green Goblin Bigfig is probably one of the most unique in the whole collection. Now we are going to jump back to the very first. This is the true original, not just the original Hulk, but the original Bigfig for any of the superheroes line. He came out in Hulk's Helicarrier Breakout, set number 6868, and those tan pants instead of the purple that we saw before make him $23. He is by far the most expensive of any of the big figs, and I'm afraid there isn't much more to point out about his detailing other than the fact that it is tan instead of purple, like I said before. So I am going to jump back to the collection as a whole now, but before I end the episode, I do want to have some honorable mentions. There are 3 Lego-built figs that I think deserve a spot. Groot came out in 2014 from the Nowhere Escape mission. I said Groot, not the Ent. Thank you. He's kind of an awkward Lego-built fig because he's got such a detailed torso piece that looks so accurate, and it's kind of juxtaposed with somewhat of an awkward build that makes up the body. On another note, the teaser trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 just came out, and I hope they make Baby Groot as, I don't know, a statuette or something in the new sets. 2015 gave us the Hulkbuster from Hulkbuster Smash. This is an excellent mech suit build if I ever saw one come from a Lego set. It's well balanced, it looks beefy, it's highly posable, and you can fit an Iron Man fig in the inside. Sorry, I have no prices for these guys necessarily, they're all a bunch of Lego parts, but I have a good feeling that a lot of these Lego built figures are probably going to be worth more than most of the other big figs. Anyways, the last guy is Ant-Man. He came out in the Superheroes Airport Battle Set 76051, and this is one clever build because it is indeed just a large Lego built version of a minifig. It's got a lot of exclusive stickers, the print on his face is exclusive, and he just looks excellent. So now that I've finished off the honorable mentions, I also think it is worth talking about the big figs that we know are coming soon. There is a set for Hulk versus Red Hulk that is going to bring 2 brand new Hulk big figs to the table, and they already make up the majority of this collection, but at this point they're going to be exactly half. Half when you add the Killer Croc and Bane from the new Lego Batman movie. The official sets have not yet been announced for them, at least I don't think, but based on this poster that we're looking at here, I'm gonna bet that these guys are gonna be appearing in 2017. So those are 4 other big figs that we know about so far that are gonna be coming up soon, and now let's get back to the collection at hand. It's interesting to see that in 2015 they sort of standardized the shape of the body, and that we're not going to be seeing any extra detailing for the legs or the torso probably after this point. A big fig that I'd very much like to see in the future. There are a lot to choose from, especially when I'm thinking about both Marvel and DC. But I guess on a personal note, I would really love to see a Venom big fig make it onto the Lego scene. I like him quite a lot as a minifig. I think he would work really well as a big fig. And heck, the knockoff versions of him look pretty good. And it would just be nice to have an official Lego version of this. Alright, that's it for this episode, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any ideas about another collection you want to see in the future, you can let us know in the comment section below. And if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I do like making these videos for you guys, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.